Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to another garden chat. We are busy starting more seeds today. Today our plan is to start our tomatoes for the hanging baskets and some onions. Now before we get on with that, I just wanted to show you what's happening with the peppers that we started last week. Okay, so some of our peppers have come up. Some of them are quite nicely, as you can see, and we got them under some lights here. We got lots that have come up. There's some serranos, and we got a mystery cross that came up, some Tobago. We got some jalapeno and habaneros, all doing really well. So we're very happy to see them up. Yeah, so it's the start of something wonderful for the garden, I think, with all these wonderful peppers. And then we've got, these ones were our sort of our test germinations that we did in January. They're all looking fabulous. You know, it's kind of nice to see them. It's kind of cool the way these purple cayennes have the purple leaves on them. I always think that's kind of interesting. So yeah, we've got lots of things going on today, lots of things. And of course in this tray we've got some that are not almost ready to transplant, but not quite, but we're quite excited about. We got California Reapers and we got some chocolate ghosts. So we're excited. And this one back here, this is called Hallows Eve. That's gonna be awesome. So that's what's happening with the peppers, some of the peppers that we started last week. Okay, so here we are. We're gonna do our tomatoes for our hanging baskets. That's all we're gonna be doing today in terms of tomatoes. I wanted to get those ones started a little earlier because they are going to be going into hanging baskets. So I want them to be a little bit bigger. When it comes time for the plant sale, I want them to be bigger and fuller and bushier and filling in those baskets when the sale comes along. So that's why I'm storing them a little bit earlier. The bulk of our tomatoes, we will probably be starting maybe mid-March, mid to late March is when we'll be getting those going. So for the hanging baskets, the varieties I picked for the hanging baskets, we've got Whippersnapper and we've got Sprite. Both of these are nice red tomatoes, red cherry tomatoes. So the Whippersnapper will get nice long trusses of cherry tomatoes. The Sprite is it's more of a dwarf determinate plant with nice, little bit elongated cherry tomatoes on them. We've also got Tumbling Tom Yellow. This is really one of two hybrids that I'm growing this year, so I thought that'd make a nice option instead of for red. It'd have a nice yellow one. And this one is recommended for hanging baskets. It again will produce nice long trusses that will hang over the basket. And then the last variety that we're going to start is the Amethyst Cream cherry. Now, I don't know this is actually suited for a hanging basket, but I'm going to try it. It should just cascade over, because when you think of tomato, the natural habit of tomato plants is they will naturally crawl and sprawl, and this should just do that and just hang over the basket. And this is, the Amethyst Cream cherry is a yellow bicolor, so that might make a nice pretty option for a hanging basket. So I'm going to start with the Whippersnapper, and I'm only planting about 6 seeds of each one. The hanging baskets are something new that we're offering for our plant sale. I wanted to try it, see if it works, see if there's any interest. So my soil's all mixed up. I've got my 6 packs ready to go, and my tags are ready to go, and I'll just show you what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just going to pull out some seeds here. I'm hoping there's way more seeds in this packet than what it says. So I'm just going to put 6 in here, so we've got some extra plants in case something goes wrong. I know it does not sound like a lot, but you know, our business is still kind of small and we're still trying to promote things and grow things, and rather than end up with a bunch of leftover plants, I just try to plant fewer plants. So there's the Whippersnapper. There we go. Put those back in the envelope. And there's my tag. Put the tag in there. Tags are always important. And then I'm just going to cover them up with some soil. There we go. And then we'll move on to the next one. The next one we'll do Sprite. That's the other red one that we've got going on. It's sounding like a nice a nice option for a hanging basket, as the plant itself is supposed to be smaller. The tomatoes are sort of like an elongated cherry, I guess, if you will. I'll just put out some seeds here. There we go. So I'm so excited. The weather's been a little bit milder. It's kind of moderated a little bit. Although it'll be a while before we get into some decent weather. We've been trying to figure out how to heat the greenhouse. It's not a very big greenhouse, it's very small, but trying to heat it and keep it warm in a way that's not going to cost us a fortune is proving to be a challenge. So, you know, in the past, it's always been late March, early April before we can actually start putting plants in there anyway. So, but we're trying to get things going a little bit earlier if we can. So there's Sprite, because the sooner that we can get things going, you know, maybe we can get some early sales, plant sales kind of thing. There's Sprite. Next, we've got the Tumbling Tom Yellow. So the Tumbling Tom Yellow, it's one of only 2 hybrids that we're growing this year. I tend to not, I mean, I have nothing against hybrids. I think there's lots of room in the garden for hybrids. But if I'm wanting to save seed, and I do want to save seed from a lot of the plants that we grow, then, you know, they do have to be open pollinated. I mean, you can save seed from a hybrid plant. The only thing is that they probably won't grow true. And what you can do, and what lots of people have done, is they'll grow them out anyway and just select the plants that are closest to what the parent plant was and save seed from those for future generations. And I mean, that's how they get open pollinated versions of some of the popular hybrids anyway. I mean, lots of people were doing that with the Sun Gold hybrid. They were just selecting out, growing out and selecting for those traits that were similar to the parent plant. There we go, that's the Tumbling Tom Yellow. But for the most part, I don't grow the ones that are really, like the Tumbling Tom Red, the Tiny Tims, I won't grow because a lot of them are already available in garden centers and the stores. And I've been trying to make a point of growing ones that are not available in the big box stores and stuff like that. But, you know, they're just as good, and in fact, sometimes better than the ones that you get that are available in the box stores. But that's just me. That's my own opinion. So this is the Amethyst Cream Cherry. Now I am just putting 1 seed in each cell. Normally when I grow my tomatoes, I will multi-sow them to conserve on space, but because I'm only growing sort of 6 plants of each variety, I don't need to multi-sow. So I'll just put 1 plant in each cell, and then when they are ready for transplant, they will be transplanted into the hanging baskets. There we go, and that is the Amethyst Cream Cherry. Put some soil in that. There we go, all ready to go. So yeah, as I was saying, like, the whole point of my sort of little hobby, you know, home business type of thing is to provide live plants for some of these hard to find varieties that you can only find as seeds. And because not everybody is set up to start their own plants, not everybody wants to, and that's okay. But I would like to be that service provider that provides those unique plants to people who want them. But you know, and there's lots of so many tomatoes out there, so many wonderful tomatoes out there. You know, just because you can't or don't want to start your tomatoes from seed shouldn't restrict you to the varieties that you have available to you, right? So that's the way I feel. And so I am trying to build up that aspect and promote that aspect of what I do is you know, live plants for some of these unique varieties. Like, there's no way you would find Amethyst Cream Cherry in a big box store or a conventional garden center. You just won't. So okay, so the next thing we're starting today are onions. So I'll just go grab the onion seed packets. All right, so we've got the onion seeds here. So we're doing our overall plan for the onions is will be the first of several sowings of onions. We are going to be sowing consecutively for the next while. The onions last year did really well for us. Our only issue was that we didn't have enough. So we are trying to plant a whole lot more. So we've got some specific bunching onions or spring onions, green onion variety. We've got two varieties. We've got Southport, White Globe, and we've got Feast. So these are the spring onions or the scallions or whatever you want to call them. We've also got some Talon, which is a storage onion, and we've got Walla Walla. So what we did last year, and actually worked quite well for us, is we will multi-sow into the cell pack. So I'll probably put about 5, maybe 6 seeds in each cell. And then what we did over last summer, like we planted them out, and as they grew and as they became ready and looking good for the spring onions, we would harvest them. We would pick them and harvest them, and then we would leave one central one in the ground, and that became a nice big bulb onion. And so by the time we harvested all the other small ones, leaving just that one, by the end of the season, the onions were perfectly spaced. Every time we went and picked, we did some weeding, so they were nice, clear weeds, so they had lots of room to grow, and we had beautiful, beautiful big onions. Some of them were huge, actually. So that's what we're going to do again this year. So we are going to multi-sow. So I'm going to start with the Southport White Globe bunching onion. Okay, so I'm just going to pour some out in my hand. If you've never seen onions before, they're actually not bad in terms of size. They're easy enough to handle. So like I said, I'm going to be putting about 5 in each cell. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yes, we are doing this. I am doing this by hand. It would be a lot faster if we had, a fancy air seeder. Like you can get these what they call vacuum seeders, and it's a machine, and it creates a vacuum effect. It has like a bunch of pinholes, and it creates this vacuum effect. And you put your seeds on that metal tray, and it holds them in place, and then you turn it over on top of your tray, and then you turn it off, and the seeds swell into nicely spaced perfectly into the trays, and you can see like a whole tray in like a matter of seconds. I mean, that would be great if we could get that. That would be awesome for us. It would be definitely less time consuming, but that's okay. I don't mind doing this by hand. I don't mind getting my hands into the soil. And well, yes, it is time consuming. There's a certain joy into hand seeding things too. So I'm just going to do the rest of this tray. So it's going to be half or mostly the onions with the tomatoes in that tray as well. Where did I end off? There we go. And just like that. So I'm going to finish doing the onions, and then we'll give you a show around of what all we did. All right, so I've just finished seeding up the last of our onions, and the last thing that we need to do is to water. So what I'm going to do, and what we're doing with all of our seeding trays, is we are going to bottom water. So I'm just going to pull that out, and the trays that we're using, they're a very heavy duty solid bottom plastic. And then I'm just going to pour some water in the bottom so that they can take that all up, and then we'll put a plastic dome on them to keep the humidity up in them. And my bets are within 5 days, we'll have both onions and tomatoes poking up through the surface. They usually don't take that long to germinate. All right, so thank you so much for joining me today, for helping me plant up my onions and the first of the tomatoes. It's so exciting. Spring is almost here. The gardening season has begun. It's so exciting to get some seeds in the ground and to see them start poking up. So anyway, thank you again for joining me. I hope you have a great Friday and a great weekend coming up. And until next time, take care.